Welcome, and in this video we're going to talk about my Conn 28M, which I've sold and is leaving the shop this week. I thought we better take a close look at it and talk about some of the features and uniqueness of this rare, beautiful saxophone. Let's get started. So this is the Conn 28M. These were built in the early 50s by Conn, and these were kind of a last-ditch effort to get back into the professional saxophone market, and they came out with this completely redesigned saxophone with basically all new key mechanisms, some really beautiful, unique designs, and these are wonderful saxophones. I really like how these play. They have a really full sound, and they tend to be a little more focused. And I think they're really powerful. I think they would be a really good lead alto saxophone. Let's just look over some of the features of this saxophone. Let's start with this key guard. They put this plastic key guard on there, which is really unique. And back in the 50s, they were doing these with some saxophones. Kyleworth had a lot of saxophones that had either like a back closed guard or the whole front, which they had right-hand bell keys, but a whole plastic key guard. They called the angel wings that went from the B flat to the low C. And so some manufacturers were doing that, but it was something I guess kind of some people tried in the 50s. I think I read one time that this was a guard that of course protected the keys, but also when you had the side of your leg against this, it helped keep the sound projecting in an even manner. And then of course nobody's really done anything like that since, so probably wasn't as effective as they were intending. Some of the other unique features of these table keys that you can see a really unique design. They're really functional as far as the left-hand table key go. The low B flats takes a little bit to get used to, but it works really well. I've actually played this horn quite a bit, and it's a fun saxophone to play. The low E flat and C, you can see, just have a pretty unique look to them. And so all the key mechanisms are really smooth, and they have a really light touch to them, and that's part of the design. Was the key touches and key mechanism had a light design, but this still functioned really well and smoothly and quickly. One of the other ways they did that was there weren't pivot screws. So usually on a key like this, which is just one piece, there'd be a pivot screw with a tapered end and a pivot screw with a tapered end, and then you would tighten those screws down, and that's what holds the key on, and the key pivots on that screw. This saxophone just has a rod that goes all the way through, and the rod is tapered on the inside, so the key isn't rubbing all the way through, it's just rubbing on the ends. And actually, let me grab a screwdriver and I'll just take it off and show you. If you're enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you. If you look, you can see there's a taper on that rod, and so that key is only turning on the ends there, and so this is just free movement. There's adjustment screws on the upper stack, and there's adjustment screws on the stopper piece here to adjust the key height, and the adjustment screws here to adjust the individual mechanisms. The lower stack has a back bar it's kind of in a weird spot. It makes it a little harder to adjust. Let's see if you can see this, but right there, isn't it a little back bar they called it? That's what the key adjusts on. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video. The G sharp key also has a really unique spring mechanism. See how that works. And you can see there's adjustment screws for the 1 and 1 B flat and the articulated G sharp. You can see there's 2 octave key pips on the body and 1 on the neck. So there's 3 octave key pips, which makes the scale really even on this saxophone. This neck also has this underslung octave key. Beautiful design. The octave key, actually, how that touch piece is, feels really smooth under the thumb. Oh yeah, one more thing. The side F sharp key actually wraps around the body, so you can see the touch piece here, and then it wraps around and opens there. Now the function of that is it's a natural position. Basically those keys all close in the same way together, where like if the F sharp key was here, you would be going that way, which is the opposite direction of these. It does feel really functional. I think Buffet actually they do have a saxophone that is no longer made that has a similar mechanism. It doesn't wrap around the body, but it has the same feel. Santee Runyon helped in the design of this saxophone. They only made an alto. One more thing I wanted to mention on this key guard is these are really fragile. So usually when you see these, the guards will be at least cracked, missing chunks. There's one guy that's making these guards. This guard actually came with this saxophone when I bought it, so I don't think he made it. His guards actually look nicer than this one. Not that this one looks bad, but if you find one of these and it's missing the guard or the guard's cracked, there's a guy on Facebook who makes these, and he does a great job. Moving on, you'll notice there are adjustment screws on the table keys here, which makes this horn tedious to get adjusted, but once you get them in about the right spot, you can just put cork and sand cork and make the adjustments without having to turn the little adjustment screws. But so I'm looking at it like this low C sharp has a adjustment screw for the heights, and same thing with the low B flat. And let's see, the B, no, the B doesn't. The low C sharp is actually, if you see this key here, that's the low C sharp key, and this actually has a brass that comes out, and then this low C sharp key has a piece of brass that comes out. One problem with these table keys is, on these left-hand table keys, is this low C sharp is really hard to push because there just isn't much leverage. You can see, like, compared to the low B flat, you can push all the way over here, really easy to push. The low C sharp is harder to push because there's not much leverage. Well, this Conn actually made this key so it has a lot of leverage and it's easy to push. A really nice design feature. Obviously, no saxophones or left-hand bell keys anymore, so that's not an issue, but for Conn to get back into the market and do something like that is a big deal, because they maintain the left-hand bell keys for whatever reason, but they made them so they're really more functional and easy to use. You'll see it stamped 28M, patent pending E for the key of E flat, L for low pitch, which for the 1950s, I don't think anything was being made in low pitch at that time, so it's kind of interesting they still maintain those stamps. And I think the last thing I need to mention is the front F key. Has this contoured front F button like a modern Selmer would have, which was pretty unique. Not too many manufacturers were doing that in the 50s, so that was really ahead of its time. This saxophone was ahead of its time. It's a shame that it didn't catch on and that Conn is no longer a company, or at least what they were back in the day, but we have this saxophone to remember what Conn was. I'm going to play this saxophone. We can see how it sounds. Thanks for watching. For those of you that have been here before, you may have noticed I've got a new microphone. I'm using my 421 Sennheiser that I like to use when I perform, and I got a MacBook Pro, and I've been learning how to use that thing, and it is a learning curve for someone that's never had a MacBook before. So that's been a little frustrating, but I think I've got a lot of it figured out, and I'm able to use this with a Focusrite interface and get some really nice recordings. I think for the review videos, I'll just put a raw recording out, but stuff like this where we're just playing for fun, I'll add a little reverb in. So far, the stuff I've done sounds really good, so let's see what you think of this saxophone, and let me know what you think of the new setup. Yeah, this horn, I have not played this in a while, and it is really fun. I think these are definitely underrated. They're also really rare, so you just don't see them for sale very often. This one, overhauled, all done with the new guard. I sold it for under $2,000. I think was a very fair price, and as good as this horn plays, I'm digging it. It's fun. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe.